Welcome back to CBS4K, and this is Gorbad Gameplay Showcase. So, last time in Total War Warhammer 3, we saw the other two legendary lores. We're going to look at the final one, and then I'm going to get my final assessment of the entirety of the DLC. Alright, 3, 2, 1, let's go!
What you're about to see is pre-alpha footage of Owen to Destruction. This was recorded months in advance, so there's still some placeholders in game. We're really hard at work, right?
So it's still like they're still working on it, but the general concepts are completed though.
Now, and can't wait for you to get your hands on it at release. Cunning, brutal, unrelenting.
Look out, Gorbad Ironclaw's rubbing some brain cells together, and he's going to Waaagh.
He not only is big and strong and can really back a punch, he can also think pretty well.
Strength, smarts, and proper
Capable.
invasion. From Solon
You could say he's capable of big thinking. Yeah.
to Ostermark, the Empire best beware, the Ironclaw Orcs have a plan.
That's their name then, the Ironclaw Orcs. That's a good name.
Gorbad Ironclaw once comatose a Warboar with a headbutt.
Really?
Gorbad Ironclaw once slayed an Emperor. Infamous is too small a word for a war boss of such horrific deeds, and yet it is not his strength or cruelty that has earned Gorbad his bloody reputation. No. Gorbad possesses something his bone-headed brothers lack. A brain. Of course, I should clarify he's smart for an orc, which is to say on par with the average Bretonnian farmer. For example,
Well, that's still pretty smart for an orc. Like, that's genius level.
Death Pass is one settlement away from being ours, and whilst we were driving the Skaven away from Blackcrack, some cheeky gobbos went and stole Iron Rock. Maybe that's more a me problem. Either way, it's a good thing Gorbad instills undying loyalty. The Great Leader gives massive boons to Gorbad's leadership stats, and opens up orcs at
The Great Leader. Wow. Upcreep for an army is reduced by 10%. Once the best. Gorbad's war replaces. Okay. Bigger aura. Better leadership effects.
the best, and Gorbad's Waaagh. Both abilities that tell me if hitting the enemy hard enough isn't working, I should buckle down, think.
Okay. More damage. Let's look at the... That should be very useful. That makes him a good buffer for a large area. Well, it depends how big the area is. But since he has a large aura field, I'm guessing it'll be a very large area. You can hit that in. And it makes your army hit really hard for extra base damage. Armor piercing and melee attack. That makes him, yeah. That's going to be huge. Massive.
Hitting the enemy hard enough.
That's a solo ability that makes him good at fighting on his own, so he's not completely... Okay. So he's a good buffer, a good duelist in fighting his own ways against a powerful enemy. But he could also probably fight large amounts of units by himself as well. Not win, but he could fight them for a good number of turns. Not turns, for a very good number of minutes. So that you can swing in and have a hammer and anvil sort of situation.
Isn't working, I should buckle down, think about the situation, and hit them even harder. And what hits harder than squigs?
I haven't looked at stats.
But we'll work towards building the squig cages.
Squid cages. Yeah, let's change stuff around. That's good. Set things for level 3 instead of level 4 for... Yeah. Level 4 buildings was crazy for greenskins. Like, there was nothing I could build in their settlements. Because everything they needed in their minor zones, because everything needed was level 4 stuff. So, this will help them out, build better armies and have more utility in their armies. And because you just had to build certain things at certain points, because there's no way you could build a nice 3-stack, like a nice full stack army of good stuff. You had to build a full stack army of just goblins and basic level orcs.
To open up recruitment of the Night Goblin Big Boss and Mangler Squids with mid-game goal of fielding a Colossal Squig. Or 5. Big Squigs are it, that's what Mork always says. For now, we use that big old brain and get some growth going. Speaking of smart, some big brain humies with good words wrote a blog deep diving into all things Gorbad. Like what you're seeing? Read it. If you can. Right, let's kick these scabby-eyed gits out of Ironrock. Can't hope to defeat the Empire if we can't beat a few stupid little gobbos.
Gorbad himself is a very strong single entity unit that can really fight well, but also lead from the front and buff up his allies around him. What makes him different to other orcs is that he can actually think better.
Yeah, look at the stats. Those stats were pretty good. Let's look at those stats again. He's got good leadership. Mostly it's weapon strength and leadership that are his main things. And his armor's pretty good too. Charge bonus, melee defense. So he can't hold his own against a large army by himself, but he can maybe fight 1 or 2 units by himself. Maybe.
Is that he can actually think better than most of them, which helps him utilize some tactics that would be...
But I would recommend using him mostly as a powerful leader unit that buffs the boss people. That's without me getting my hands on it. I don't know what other abilities he gets.
Very uncommon for orcs. Utilizing goblins or arrows where is needed. And that can sometimes lead to winning battles that would otherwise have been lost.
We were inspired by Gorbad's lore as this master tactician leading Waaghs across the old world. To bring Gorbad to life, I thought, well, we have to include this special, unique trait of Gorbad, which is everyone is a useful part of his war machine, and he's going to use all of them in each special way.
Alright boys, here's the plan. Take Dwarf, build up it proper like, and launch invasion into the Empire. Let's not continue with that. We've consolidated Blood River and made tentative alliances with the surrounding orc tribes. Thorgrim still holds strong in the Silver Road, but we'll stamp him out on good time. Progress well made comes thanks to Gorbad's plan. Through vigorous trial and error, Gorbad has discovered...
Okay. Now this is interesting. Alright, Gorbad, light them up. Light them up. Okay, for passive ability, Gorbad. Okay.
But that certain combinations of units assembled correctly, used in the right moment against the right enemy, makes the gits bleed good. Bolts and spears, spears get shot. Big uns and giants, big uns get squashed. Arrows and squigs, here we go. We're onto something, boys. Look, I've trivialized Gorbad's intelligence so far.
So it looks like you're going to get you to use combinations in unique, varied armies. That should be interesting.
And perhaps that was a bit unfair. He is, after all, the official
in theory,
100th
anyway.
legendary lord.
Let me preface this with, in theory, that should be interesting.
We've heard
because it gives you various units and stuff like that.
Claims from elsewhere, but can Gorbad create dozens of combinations of units? No. Can Skulltaker combine 3 tactic slots per army? No. Only Gorbad encourages innovative thinking, ultimately assembling mixed armies with specific purposes. Gorbad...
Mixed armies are effective in his, in his planning. So, I could see, like, a Doomstack army in other factions and other Legendary Lords armies, but I feel like Gorbad's strength will be in mixed armies. I could be wrong. There's probably a way to bypass it.
Gorbad's plans are loftier than what units to recruit, focusing on how combinations of units interact with each other to create a deadly synergy. 100th Legendary Lord indeed.
The plan is an awesome mechanic because it offers a ton of different options for Gorbad and his other armies. Using different types of units, combining them together.
You recruit a bunch of units. If you get the correct unit combination, you'll have a eureka moment. You'll then unlock a new tactic. So the loop is very much experiment with the units in your forces, have some eurekas, and then make the best combination of tactics you can for each army. So you might end up with a different spider-themed army, or a goblin-themed army, or an orc-themed army across your whole campaign. And the whole idea is make a bunch of different bonkers brigades and have the best time.
We got a little carried away in Solent, but we've taken the Moot and Avalon, and we're teaching Elsbeth a thing or two about our smarts. With none next in line for a good brawling, we want every edge we can get. Thankfully, we've got an abundance of scrap.
Okay.
Hold up,
Scrap's
looking a bit different. Acting different too.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. All scrap upgrades are balanced for their power level and cost. In the interest of player freedom, we can now both stack and replace scrap upgrades on units, allowing us to
Really? So you can double up on them?
build our units tall
That's a
or
good idea.
wide throughout our armies. For Gorbad's army, we're prioritising melee, so we can go tall for our assault on none. But scrap and big thinking might not be enough. Null's well defended and we don't want to lose momentum. Not when we're a squig step from Reichland. Time to call a Waaagh. We'll gather the lads and raid the area for a few turns before beginning our assault. Like his rival Orc and Goblin legendary lords, Gorbad has his own take on the big Waaagh army ability, and whilst the bonuses are fairly standard, the length of his Waaagh is significantly longer. Furthermore, a
Really? That should make things really interesting because you can take it and you can wage a Waaagh custom who's far away and you can just take your time getting there.
successful Waaagh nets him additional units on top of the usual trophies. Longer Waaagh, more dead gits, proper smart, proper.
We really like the Orc and Goblin scrap mechanic. We think
But at the same time, I can see it being annoying because you may want to do a different Waaagh on somebody else. It's going to take longer to get... Yeah, that could be a problem.
it's got some really cool flavour in there right now. But we thought, why not let you go further? So now you can have multiple scrap upgrades on your units. We've also created new scrap upgrades as well as doing a balance pass. So it's really in your hands. Do you do a bit of scrap on all your armies, or do you scrap one army all the way up to the 9?
Ha! Stupid Humie running out from behind his wall. Smart to stay behind him. Who's dumb
So,
now?
yeah,
Don't know why
scrap
Franz left
upgrades are being tied to...
A
You
bit
do
of scrap on
multiple
all
scrap
your armies,
upgrades, that's
or do
gonna
you
be-
scrap one army all the way up to the 9?
Yeah. It'll make one army super crazy powerful.
Stupid Humie running out from behind
Or
his
you
wall.
make one-
Smart to stay
multiple
behind him.
armies
Who's
powerful.
dumb now? Don't know why Franz left the safety of Altdorf, but who cares?
But I don't remember the scrap upgrades being all that overwhelmingly powerful. Like, you could still like beat them even if they had a couple of scrap upgrades on some units. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this will play out. I'm curious if they made any changes to the scrap mechanic. They haven't mentioned it. Any changes to what unit gets what for their upgrades.
Now's our chance to prove we're better than everyone else.
Also, Goblin Knight. Okay. Don't ever get a Goblin Knight boss or whatever. A Night Goblin boss. They're not good legendary. They're not good lords because they don't really get that much. Well, we'll see. They might get upgrades.
Altdorf, but who cares? Now's our chance to prove we're better than everyone else. We did have dragged wagons tactics selected to keep our movement up as we
Squigs
toured
might
the
actually help
Empire,
them out a
but for
great
our
deal.
attack on Karl, we will change up our plans. Shoot the runt should do the trick. He's never gonna see this coming. Let's go, lads. Waaagh! Right, it's not enough just to win here. We need to crush them. Prove once and for all we ain't dumb. Best way to do that? Blast their heads off with the Savage Orc Great Shaman.
The Savage or Great Shaman brings awesome utility to every Greenskin Orc army because now they can have a lord that has access to the big Waaghs.
Every big Waaagh needs big bolt throwers. Just another example of our superior smarts.
New siege weapon. Always approve of those.
The bolt thrower is a new type of artillery, which is going to be quite useful against heavily armored targets because it offers a lot of armor piercing damage.
You know what they say? You don't need to worry about armor piercing if you aren't wearing armor. Yeah, let's go, Snaggler. Box them in. Let's squeeze the life out of them.
For Snaggler Grobspit, it's all about spiders and can also immobilize the enemy characters to assassinate them.
There's the subtle art of assassination, and then there's the subtle art of mounting a catapult on a giant spider.
Okay, I do like the Gorbad. He's a good addition to their forces, the Greenskin forces. That's legendary lore. I don't think they have many legendary lores in the Greenskins.
Either way, Carl's not
I think
getting
they
out
have
of this
one.
one.
The Ragnarok Flinger offers good new utility.
I mean, there's a few that you could say are that. No, I don't think that. Like one that has a name but doesn't have any special abilities. I forgot what it was, but it comes with Grom. He has he's a special type of wizard. No, a special type of river troll hag. Yeah.
Of having an artillery mounted on top of an Ragnarok spider.
With all escapes cut off, it's time for the colossal squigs to flatten their way through the stupid, soft humans.
The Colossal Squig is the biggest squig you've ever seen. It's going to be amazing against
I'm glad they added the big squig. It adds something to the squig and goblin armies.
enemy infantry and will probably be able to swallow whole enemy soldiers.
Oh, the Humies are on the back foot. They're nothing against the Green Tide. Nothing. What? Ogres? That sneaky git. Carl's only gone and hired damn ogres to save him. Right, well, easy. Ogres, just bigger Humies. So... Right, okay. What are we? Some kind of omens of destruction?
This looks like a cool update. Solid with a lot of changes. Like, where's your big pigeon? Where's your big pigeon? Oi! Oh.
These two gits think they could steal my glory.
Yeah, but they aren't gonna. Will Gorbad prove his intellectual might? Can he stand against Karl Franz, Skull Taker, and Golfag?
This is a good
Or will you
update.
plumb the depth of his genius?
But is
Thoughts,
it worth?
comments, Waaagh? Let us know in the comments below, or follow our links to wishlist now.
So the question isn't is it a good update? His question is it something you would like to purchase? Would I recommend this for purchase? Based off the trailers and the gameplay showcase, I would say it depends on you. But for the most part, say no if you're not really into any of these factions. They don't really add too much. If you're like unsure if you want to play these factions, then I say don't get it. But if you're sure you want to play these factions, you play these factions regularly. I say the green skin is somewhat worth it for a new legendary lord. For the Ogre Kingdoms, I would say yeah, because the update adds a lot of craziness to it and the mercenary things. And it gives you a chance to play as the ogres, as this mercenary faction, and as the ogres at the same time. So yeah, Gorfag would probably be a good pick. What else? Who else? Yes, Skull Taker. Skull Taker is decent, and you don't have that much options with Khorne. So I'd probably go with Skull Taker. There's some tribes that are like Norskin tribes that are with Khorne, so you could probably use that and still have a good time with it. But I think Skull Taker is true, and also Alvar, the new one for the free one. Alvar, it seems like a very interesting campaign where if you lose, you basically lose the entire campaign. You lose a battle. Or you take the defeated trait. Ooh. I'm guessing that's a big debuff or just an active humiliation. Either way, that should be an interesting campaign. Yeah, I would say out of all of them, I recommend Gorfag if you're going to pick one, and that's only if you haven't really played the ogres and you're not really sure if you want to get in the ogres. Like Gorfag's a good way to see if you would like the ogres because they have a nice little. He has a nice contract such a system that makes him interesting and gives new wrinkles to the gameplay. As if you haven't purchased the ogres yet, the ogre kingdoms. The one I recommend the least would probably, well, the one I recommend next to that would probably be Skull Taker. Skull Taker is a decent addition to Khorne's overall racial faction overhead. Like Skull Taker is good for cornflakes. He's good with cornflakes. He's delicious. You mix some milk with him. He's scrumdiddlyumptious. So yeah, I would somewhat recommend Skull Taker for Khorne because, well, you have played him maybe a little bit in the launch, but he has some new units. He has some new wrinkles to his gameplay that I think were interesting. And I could justify that purchase. Gorbad, I say I recommend him the least, and I don't want to sound like I don't like it because the Greenskin already has a really good roster of units already, and he has a few new wrinkles to it. But if you told me like you don't really want to spend that extra money for all three, I would say Gorbad's the one you can miss out on because Gorbad doesn't have. He doesn't have enough to like tell me that he's interesting to draw me in. Now this is based off of the gameplay showcase. I'm not talking about actual gameplay. I'm actually gonna play them. I don't know if we're gonna launch today, but I'll probably play them in the near future, like a few turns of it just to see of it. Maybe record it and tell you guys what I think. And if I like it, I'll give a further second recommendation afterwards. Okay. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next one. The original video is in the description. If it's not there, then just put a friendly reminder in the comment section and I'll get right on it. Alright. Take care. And don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.